In today's fast-paced digital landscape, we must delve into the robust tapestry of, okay, you've read that post, I've read that post, we all know exactly what a chatbot sounds like. Large language models are predictive engines. They do not actually think, they calculate the most likely next word. Because they are trained heavily on millions of corporate documents, SEO blogs, and press releases, they constantly gravitate toward the statistical mean of their data. That means falling back on the most average, predictable vocabulary available. If you are a software engineer or a technical founder, those generic buzzwords actively work against you. The moment an audience of developers spots the word supercharge or realm in your post, your credibility vanishes. They stop reading because it sounds like a template, not an insight. Ozigi operates on a different architecture entirely, built around the 90-10 rule. The engine handles the 90%, extracting a narrative and structuring the draft, so you can focus exclusively on the 10% that actually makes it yours. Maintaining your professional authority while scaling requires an engine that anchors itself in your specific voice, using strict constraints to route around the generic defaults of the model. The process starts with raw input. You don't need to write a careful summary. You drop in a 45-minute meeting transcript, a URL to your API docs, or a scattered brain dump. Ozigi's multimodal ingestion pipeline extracts the core technical narrative directly from the noise. Most people prompt an AI by telling it what to write. Ozigi requires you to tell it who it is. You define a system persona, which acts as a strict editorial brief. Instead of asking the model to sound professional, you assign an identity, a staff engineer scaling distributed systems. You establish strict rules, use short sentences, never apologize, and bold the critical terms. Finally, you set the exact formatting required for the platform. These voice profiles are saved to your database and injected at the very top of the system prompt. The model locks in its identity, its vocabulary range, and its assumed audience knowledge before it ever processes your raw content. By establishing this strict identity up front, the engine eliminates the generic, overly enthusiastic marketing tone that plagues standard tools. But a persona isn't enough on its own. Ozigi pairs it with a negative constraint system called the banned lexicon. This hard API firewall forbids crutch words like delve or tapestry. Removing lazy transitions forces the engine to route around familiar patterns, constructing punchy, original sentences. This raises perplexity and burstiness, creating unpredictable vocabulary and rhythmic spikes that mirror human speech. Forcing an AI to abandon statistical defaults creates copy that sounds like a human wrote it. Politely asking it to sound natural rarely works. Even with these constraints, Ozigi is engineered to stop at 90%. The engine builds the structure, extracts the signal, and applies the tone. Then it leaves a well-structured but explicitly unfinished draft waiting in your dashboard. This is the required human phase. You open the draft and add the specific details the engine couldn't possibly know. You type in the exact latency metric you hit, or the fact that you finally patched that stubborn bug at 2 a.m. on a Sunday. An AI can synthesize what is already documented, but it has no access to your memory, your team's inside jokes, or the specific nuance of a decision you made yesterday. Specificity is what makes content trustworthy. The edit phase is your mechanism for injecting the authority and insight that earns audience attention. It's where you finish the draft with the layer of authenticity that no model can natively replicate. Because of this, Ozigi strictly separates generation from distribution. There is no background auto-posting. The AI will never publish a word directly to your audience without your review. When you finish your edits, you hit publish. Using secure one-click integrations like Twitter Web Intents and LinkedIn OAuth, the final approved copy is pushed to the platform for one last look before it goes live. You take a messy thought, drop it into the engine, and let the banned lexicon and your system persona do the heavy lifting. You add your specific context, and you hit send. You don't have to start from a blank page, and you don't have to settle for synthetic, robotic copy. Go to ozigi.app and start your free trial today.